Now, if you've got little ears in and around the radio, maybe distract them or send them out of the room or send them outside to do something for just the next couple of minutes, because Frank Rainey, our courts correspondent, with me now to talk about this ongoing civil action in the High Court against Conor McGregor and James Lawrence, taken by Nikita Hand, claiming she was sexually assaulted by the pair in a Dublin hotel in December 2018. Frank, what happened today?
Well, today the defence called its final witness, so all of the evidence has now been presented to the jurors. The barrister representing Conor McGregor, Remy Farrell, called Professor John Farnan. He is a forensic physician, and he described, he was giving evidence in relation to bruising. In general terms, he described a bruise as a discoloration of the skin caused when blood leaks out from blood vessels under the skin. He said they're caused by blunt force, can change colour over time from blue to brown to yellow before eventually fading away. And he said that if damaged blood vessels are deep in the tissue, it can take up to 24 or 48 hours for them to appear. Now, the jury has already heard evidence of extensive bruising to the woman bringing this lawsuit against Mr. McGregor and Mr. Lawrence, 35-year-old hair colourist Nikita Hand. The jury heard that when she went to the sexual assault treatment unit at the Rotunda Hospital, this was the day after the alleged rape back in December of 2018, she had bruising on all of her limbs and her body. She had a purple bruise on the right side of her neck, which the jury was told looked like a love bite. But the experts who gave evidence earlier in the trial couldn't say whether that was given with consent or not. The doctor who examined her in the Rotunda Hospital described her injuries as significant. He said they were consistent with the outline of events she gave him. And one of the paramedics who brought Ms. Hand to hospital that day said that there appeared to be some bruising around her neck when she examined her. And she also said that she had bruising around her chest, breast, down her legs and around her buttocks. And she said that she was very, very bruised. She said that she hadn't actually seen that intensity of bruising on a person before. Professor Farnan was cross-examined by one of her barristers, and during that cross-examination he accepted that some bruises can appear quickly, but again he said that some can take up to 48 hours to appear. He was also asked about the anti-anxiety drug sertraline, which is a drug we know was prescribed to Nikita Hand by her GP. Professor Farnan described the drug data sheet in relation to that particular drug. He said that it shows that there is a higher propensity for bruising when a person is taking it. And once he had stepped down from the witness box, he didn't spend very long giving his evidence. He was the only witness called today. And once he stepped down, the jurors were told that he is the final witness in the case. So after 8 days in the High Court, all of the evidence has now been presented to the 8 women and 4 men on the jury. So the trial has now and will enter its final stages.
And Frank, on those final stages, people are very used to listening to you talk to us about criminal proceedings, and these are not criminal proceedings, civil proceedings. So what happens now in terms of kind of a final address to the jury and instructions to the jury and deliberations? How different or similar is it?
Quite similar, as it turns out. The next stage will be closing speeches. So, you know, lawyers on both sides will be given an opportunity to address the jurors for a final time, in the same way that criminal barristers would up the road in the CCJ. You know, again, just to point out, this isn't a criminal case; it's a civil legal action. It's a lawsuit brought by Ms. Hand against the 2 men who deny any wrongdoing. They claim that whatever sex they had or claim to have had with Ms. Hand in the Beacon Hotel was consensual. Once those closing speeches have been delivered, then the judge, Mr. Justice Alex Owens, will direct the jurors in relation to the law and what they'll have to consider when they eventually begin their deliberations at some point next week. I suppose where it differs is clearly they're not going to be considered the guilt or otherwise in relation to criminal offences, because, you know, as we've been at pains to say throughout, this isn't a criminal case. What will happen is they'll be given a list of questions to answer. And when they go back to their jury room, they will consider all of the evidence before they give their answers in relation to those questions. And the jury was actually sent home early today, but the work of the court did not stop, because in their absence, they were discussing legal issues we can't go into for obvious reasons. But they were told that those legal issues related to, I suppose, the makeup of the questions that they will eventually have to, or will be asked to answer in due course. So once all of that is done, and once the judge has directed the jurors, they will then be given an opportunity to go to their jury room to begin their deliberations. It's hard to tell how soon that will happen, but you would expect by Wednesday or Thursday they may be sent out to consider the evidence.
Frank Rainey, our courts correspondent, thank you very, very much. And as always, if you or anyone you know has been impacted by this, you can contact the Dublin Rape Crisis 24-hour national rape crisis helpline on 1800 778888. That's 1800 778888.